Hello, my name is Roy Cohen, and I'll be hosting this particular show of Community Forum from the studio for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic. It's been quite the experience to do shows using Zoom, but today it's the real thing. It's from the studios, and I'm pleased to say that we have a knowledgeable guest from the Connect 24 Business Alliance, Jeannette Travaline. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's nice to have you. Jeannette, why don't we get into what the Connect 24 Business Alliance is? I understand it's a combination of the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce and the Randolph Chamber of Commerce. Am I correct?
That is correct, yes. Yes.
Can you give us a little bit of what?
Sure. Let me just tell you how that all came into fruition. So my career before I retired was in banking, and as you know, in the world these days, there's many mergers going on in the healthcare system and in the banking system, and even in the technology system where people are merging together. It's not all the mom and pop shops like it used to be, so people are putting things together and doing well at it. So I retired from banking and I joined the Randolph Chamber of Commerce. And I had belonged to the Randolph Chamber of Commerce for a long time ago when it was a very robust chamber. And smaller chambers, like smaller businesses, are struggling a little bit with members. So we found out that the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce was going to lose its executive director. He retired. And so I went to my board of directors, because by that time I had received the position of executive director, and said, let's talk about merging. One of the reasons I left banking was because of mergers, but I thought this would be a good idea. We're neighboring towns. We have kind of the same demographic, and we were looking to expand our membership. So after speaking with our board of directors and speaking with the board of directors from the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce, we decided that it would probably be a really good idea. So we got a committee together and we decided to pursue that. And so when you're going to start a new entity, everything has to start again. You have to start with your new bylaws, your new articles of organization. So there was a lot of work to be done in the background. And because we merged with them, there were opportunities for people to come on the new board. We were going to form a new board. And there were some people that were on each board for a long time and decided, you know what, I don't think I want to continue. And one of the reasons was we tossed around changing the name from a Chamber of Commerce to a Business Alliance. And why would we do that? So I had a friend who had merged several chambers, the south of Massachusetts, and we had a meeting and he talked a little bit about the way of the world for chambers across the United States. And the word Chamber of Commerce is a word you would associate with anybody that's older than you, going back to your grandpa, because our chamber started in Randolph in 1986. So I'm a firm believer in change is constant and change is what happens. And if you're still running an organization the same way today that you were 10 years ago, where are you going? Are you going anywhere? Are you just backpedaling? So that was kind of the reason that we decided to merge.
Excellent. You took over the Stoughton Chamber, which under the leadership of Terry Schneider was very, very active, and we had quite a few members, if I remember correctly. There was a couple of hundred members that they counted on for activities, a lot of functions, a lot of fundraising, all for good causes. Tell me about the difference. What are you doing to raise money or to raise membership?
So, as I said a little bit earlier, you just can't stay stagnant. It's time for a new day. It's time for what are we doing now? So we decided to change the name to a Business Alliance because I think there's one other chamber in Massachusetts that is a Business Alliance. But we still keep in our mind the mission, the core mission of a chamber, or now a Business Alliance, and that is to support local businesses. So we started out in the beginning of the pandemic doing this. So here we were in a pandemic, and we still decided to do it. So we met, as you said, Zoom was where we met. We just met with on Zoom. We got together, collaborated, who could do this, who could do that. We put things together, we hired an attorney, and we started it. And people were really interested to hear, what is this all about? It's not the same old, same old. We want to be innovative. We want to think more outside the box than inside the box. So what did we do as a chamber to support businesses that we're doing differently with the Alliance? Those were the questions we were asking ourselves. And of course, the question was, what were we going to call ourselves? I mean, what would you change your name to? So we had many discussions about it. We came up with some silly names, and we came up with some innovative names, and that's how we came to Connect 24. So if you know the area, you know that Route 24 does go between Stoughton and Randolph, and we thought that was perfect. We want to connect with people. Connect 24 is where we're at. We're open all the time. I actually carry the chamber phone I still say chamber, the Alliance phone with me, so that I don't miss any calls in case someone's looking to find out about us. So that's kind of how we started talking about it and started deciding what it is that we were going to do. So like I said, the pandemic hit. So how was I going to help my members, but what about all of those other people in my community that needed help? So do you say, well, you're not a member of the Business Alliance, we're not helping you, which is just so against anything that I would ever think to do. So we did. We helped anybody that wanted help with PPP loans, and we discovered that if you were financially organized in your business, then you could get a PPP loan.
What is a
right
PPP
away.
loan?
Okay, so it was a loan that the government was giving to people that had businesses that closed. In order to sustain themselves, they needed to be able to fill a payroll and help their people that had worked for them. So there were all different kinds of grants. And if you followed the rules of the grant, and I'm not a grant writer, and I would only pass off the people to the grant people I knew. Mm-hmm. I'm not an expert in anything. The only thing I can do pretty well is talk.
Okay, you're doing well.
Sorry. Talk and connect people. Everyone says to me, Jeannette, if I need to know someone or I find somebody that does something, you're my connection. So I connect the dots more than anything else. I'm not an expert in anything except what I said, talking. So
the PPE, from what I understand, is a grant to keep your employees in money.
That's correct. Yep, that was part of it. There was all different components of it, and there was an EIDL loan. It's called EIDL loan that the government gave out, in this PPE or PPP loan. And if you followed the grant rules, you don't have to pay it back. But if you don't, and you don't have all your ducks in a row, you probably had to get a loan. And if you get a loan, you need to pay that back. You don't
Right.
pay grant money back,
Right.
just in case anybody doesn't know that. You know, if you're starting a business or you're doing something in business, try to get a grant. And believe me, there's a lot of money out there for people and they don't even know about it. So I have my pocket full of people that I can call and say, this person is trying to open a nonprofit, and she's a woman. So I'm connecting her with the SBA, my expert at the SBA, to say, okay, we have these loans if you want, or we have these grants. And if you're not in that world, why would you know? Why would you care if you're not in that world? But if you're in that world of business, you know, it's people that run chambers. I mean, the South Shore Chamber is a huge chamber. The Metro South Chamber is a huge chamber. We're a business alliance, but we do follow the rules of a chamber and support local businesses. Those are the people you need to go to and ask questions to. And I especially am always of the opinion that, you know, we want you to be a member. I'm not going to say, here's your membership form, please send me a check. Well, why would you? Unless you didn't ask me a question or ask me what's in it for me. Because I'm supposed to support you, you're not supposed to support me. So we kept our prices low for our membership because of that reason, because people are struggling, especially in the retail business and in the food business. You know, go to a restaurant now and see how much money you have to pay for a hamburger.
I'd like to go to a restaurant now and get service.
Exactly, exactly. Nobody's open the regular hours they were open because they don't have people to work. And then the question becomes, where are those people?
The question is, where do they get the help to run their business?
And where are the people that used to help them? Where are they? I mean, we ask that question every day.
And what do you get for an answer?
We don't know where they are. But if you think about, I just saw something on television about the Cape,
Yeah.
and they get a lot of their help in the summer from overseas.
Right.
So they're affected just as much as we're affected here. And what is the rule today? Do you have to wear a mask today? You know, because this virus, this pandemic is so new and nobody knows what the next step is going to be, you know, so they're not coming across the pond to come here and work for us like they did. I mean, if you go to the Cape in the summer and you've lived here your whole life or most of your life, you go down and you meet wonderful people from different countries. Not anymore. And that's why they're not opening. They don't have the staff. It's very sad. And how do we fix that?
You have the large amount of people that are stuck in at the border crossing. They can't come into the United States.
Exactly.
Do you have anybody within your organization that's fighting for the?
We do not have anybody. We're really focused mostly on our local chamber, and so we're Stoughton and Randolph, but we're also Holbrook and Avon because they don't have a chamber. They certainly could join the Metro South Chamber, but we would love them to come into our fold because my intention and our intention on the board is not to be a giant business alliance. We want to stay small. We want to be able to service our members as much as we can. And if we don't have and believe me, the board members that we have are wonderful, but they're working. I mean, this is my part-time job, is to be the executive director, but everyone else is a volunteer. They have full-time jobs. And how do I pull them away from what they're struggling with to help us grow this? That's working.
With your personality, I'm sure it's not too much of a problem to recruit.
We just had a business after hours. So business after hours means it's a networking. And you just come and you meet the people. So we decided in January to start. Because if you wanted to wear a mask, you could wear a mask. If you wanted to come, you could come. If you didn't want to come, you didn't have to come. We had Zoom available if you wanted to be on Zoom. So the first meeting we had in January, what are we in now? May? We just had one last night. In January, we had 7 people come to network. Last night, we had almost 50 people.
Well, that's quite a...
It's just amazing how people are looking for something that we're offering and coming to support us. It's just great.
They're looking for help.
Yes.
And you're there to give it to them.
Yes. Unconditionally, not where's your money, where's your membership, I want your money. No, no, no.
Okay, in order for a person to belong to Connect 24 Business Alliance, they have to be in business?
Well, yeah. And then that begs another question. Are you in business or you have a hobby?
Okay.
So how do you define that? There's many ways to define it. Did you get a business certificate from the town? Are you working out of your home? You can have a business working out of your home, a lucrative business working out of your home. So there's all of those different questions. So then that comes back to me and I say, okay, I want to help the people that have hobbies to turn it into a business. And how do I do that? And what kind of programming do I give them to put a chart together to say, all right, I do this, 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 and this, and this is what my result is. Am I a hobby or am I a business? And then I bring somebody in that's an expert on how to start a business to teach them how to do it, if that's what their goal is. What is their goal?
Do you have seminars?
We do. We do.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so before the pandemic, when it was just Randolph Savings, I found out that Randolph is the 3rd largest manufacturing town on the South Shore. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
No.
Nope. So I know that there's a gentleman on television that does a program called Made in Mass, and he goes to all different manufacturers in Massachusetts and puts them on the air, and they have an opportunity to increase their business because he gives them about $10,000 worth of marketing for free because he has them on his show. So I said, I have to get in touch with Doug Meehan and find out if he'll come and he'll be our moderator for a panel of manufacturers. So somebody said, how did you get him? I said, I called him up.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. Ask the question. So I did, and he said he'd love to do it. He came, and we had 110 people attended at Lombardo's. Now, this is before the pandemic.
Right.
So then the pandemic happens. And then 2 years after we did the original one, I said last year, I said, let's do it again. And let's see how these folks fared through the pandemic. How did they pivot? How are they still in business? So we had, I called him again, and he said, sure, I'll be glad to come. And he did. He's wonderful. And he said, same format. I said, well, we're going to try to concentrate on how did you successfully or unsuccessfully continue your business. So we had 4 people. One of them was the Zildjian company come. Do you know Zildjian?
Yes.
They're the Symbols.
Symbols.
They've been in business for 300 years. Okay, they came. We had a local gentleman that sells oils. I'm sorry, his name escapes me. He's in Easton. He came. AmRamp, who is a company that does ramps. They moved from South Boston to our town, and they now manufacture in our town. They came, and then there was one girl who got laid off from her job in the banking industry, and she started her own business and doing very well. So we had those 4 folks come in and talk about how they pivoted. And one of the things that came out of that from Zildjian, which really surprised me, was they would never, ever have done anything like this to sustain their business if it wasn't for the pandemic. So what they did was they called people that had bought Symbols years ago, many years ago, and said, what are you doing with your Symbols? Do you still have them? Can we buy them back? Can we recycle them? Because you know where all the Symbols are sitting, like everything else, out in the water, because of the supply chain. You can't get your product because of that. So I was flabbergasted at thinking like that. Just like distilleries, they turned their business into making hand sanitizer because that's what we needed at the time.
Right.
So that just fills my heart with happiness to say, these are true entrepreneurs that know how to continue to sustain their business. I just feel like their mother. I'm so proud of them, kind of thing.
It sounds great.
Yeah. So that was one of the programs that we had. Most recently, I got a call from a gentleman who gives out grants for people that are exiting their business. Now, I never would have thought to have a program about exiting your business. Never in a million years. So we had a conversation, and I said, well, he said, what we do is we come in and we talk to people, and we give them grant money to help them exit their business. Who knew there was grant money out there for this? So we put it together, and I was shocked to get as many people as we did to sign up for it. And unfortunately, his wife got sick, so we have postponed it, and I think it's going to happen in June. People keep calling me saying, when is that going to be, that rescheduling? It's fascinating to see what it is that people want to help them.
Right.
I mean, would you have thought of that? I just never would have thought of it. I mean, I think, well, maybe people need to know about marketing, or maybe people need to know about finances. And like I said before, and I'm probably repeating myself, I apologize, but if you were financially organized, and what does that mean, financially organized? Does that mean financially sustainable? No. It means that if you filled that application out that very first week it was instituted, and you had everything you needed to put on that form, you got your money in 2 weeks. But if you didn't and you had to scramble, you were waiting 2 months, and you were lucky if you got it. So one of the programs that we're going to do in the fall is, are you financially organized? And what exactly does that mean? So that's a program that we're going to have. And so when you're trying to put programming together, you can't just say, I'm going to have it in 2 weeks. You know, it's like a 60-day process, because you've got to do marketing. You know, you've got to put the people in place that are going to speak, and you have to make sure and vet them and make sure they know what they're talking about before you have them come in. So we want to do programming that our members want. You know, and I know that's one thing that they want. And like I said, there are people out there, and I used to say this before when I was in banking, because of my generation, and I'm a baby boomer, we're not stopping working. So I ran a program it was for women. It was called Dynamic Divas in this bank that I worked at. And there were 4 generations of people that belonged to this organization. There were the kids, there were the millennials coming out, and they helped the people like me because they're technology savvy, and we're not. At least I'm not. Perhaps you are. But I just about can put the computer up.
I'm a wannabe.
Yeah, exactly. So that just shows you that the world is smaller. I mean, it just amazes me that all those generations that have different values and different morals, because they all do, you know. I mean, I know what my morals are. Do you think my
Sure.
grandchild has the same morals as me?
Probably not.
Well, I hope so, some at least. But, you know, anyways.
It's a different world out there.
It is a different world out there. So, but I think that the good part for us is, I mean, I remember you got a passbook savings account and you got 5% interest forever. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So, you know, I was born early in the mid-century, anyway, and that's what you always got. And then all of a sudden, things started to change. Technology came in. Things started to change. It's like, what do you mean what are we getting on a passbook now? 0.5%?
Not much.
0.05? Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is the world didn't change as fast as it changes now. And how do we keep up with that? Do we want to keep up with that? Well, we better keep up with that. That's why we changed our name from a chamber to an alliance.
Right.
Because things are going faster and faster. And I want that young girl to come in to my office and help me with my computer. Because I can sit there and learn it and do it. It'd take me 3 days. It'd take her 3 minutes.
That's unbelievable.
Don't you agree? I mean, do you have grandchildren? Do you?
Yeah, I call upon them frequently to do this or do that. I need help with this.
Right.
And they come in, they press this, this, and this, and it's done.
And sometimes if I'm in a store and I have my cell phone and I see a young person and I can't do something, I'll say, can you just do this for me on the phone? And they're willing to help you.
Sure.
You know, most of the time they feel pretty big about it if an older person asks them that.
Sure. So how do you get the word out? I mean, I accidentally found out about your organization or the organization by looking in a weekly publication, the Shopper's Guide.
You don't know how happy that makes me to hear that. So I'm out and about. I find out about the Suburban Shopper.
Right.
And I don't know if he called me or I called him. And then I find out that Ron DiMatteo, do you know Ron DiMatteo?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I knew his dad.
Bob.
Bob, yes.
Great
guy, yes. And Ron and Nate started this business. So I went over there because I need to get into Stoughton. I only know Randolph people. I've lived in Randolph for 46 years. Mm-hmm. So I don't know a whole lot of people in Stoughton. So I went over and we chatted about it, and I said to them, he wanted me to buy an ad in the paper, and I said, I want to do business with you, but we don't have a lot of money to do that.
Sure.
So I said, if you run an ad for us all the time, I will make you a corporate sponsor. Negotiation. You know, corporate sponsor is $2,500.
Sure.
If you want to be a corporate sponsor for our organization. So they talked about it, and of course Ron knows how crazy I am sometimes because I've known him for a long time. And they agreed to do it. And I cannot tell you how much business we have gotten from it, how many people, 50 people came last night. They read the Suburban Shopper. Do you know how much business the Suburban Shopper has gotten from us? And it's only been since, January or February that we've had this relationship.
Right.
It's all about relationship building. It's all about being good and being kind. And you just have to portray a positive note and a kind note to people. Just a word of kindness. You look really good today, Roy. You know, I love that blue shirt on you. It brings out your eyes. Just a compliment like that. It doesn't have to be what I do. I give out candy bars to everybody.
Where's mine?
I didn't bring you one, did I?
No, you didn't.
Okay, see, now I got caught.
We need to talk about that.
I know. Well, when I go to the grocery store, the cashier and the bagger gets a candy bar. You know, it's a 79-cent candy bar, but they think it's like $1 million that you've just given them. And if people can just pass along that, you don't have to pay for that. You can say the words, hold the door. My son said to me, Jonathan, Mom, I'm tired of holding the door for people. They don't say thank you. You know what I said to him? Don't you ever hold a door again. Don't you ever do it. Because if you're holding that door to get a thank you from somebody, you've got the wrong attitude, boy. You know better than that. Well, Mom, you're right. I told that to a person that was about my age, and they say, oh, I said, what do you do? And he said, I let them go, and when they don't thank me, I beep the horn, and I'm like, then don't let them go anymore. What do you think about that?
I think it'd be nice if people did say thank you.
Exactly.
Like letting them out of an intersection and they don't wave thank you.
But if you're doing it for the thank you, don't do it.
I'm doing it because it needs to be done.
That's right. That's right.
Should be done.
That's right. And some people do thank you.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So there's a connection between you and the suburban shopper.
There very well is. And I'm so excited, and I would tell anybody to look them up and get an ad from them if you can afford it, or maybe they'll cut you a deal. Don't tell them I said that though. But they're great people over there, Nate and Ron, and I think the other gentleman's name is Eddie. I don't know him as well, but they are great people. They have been wonderful to us, and we've reciprocated to them, and that's how it should be, I think.
They're putting out a beautiful product too.
They are. They had some last night. They came last night. Actually, Barry Crimmins, if I may say,
Sure.
who's an attorney in
Stoughton.
In Stoughton, he hosted last night at Thorny Lee. Maybe that's why we had 50 people. The food was outstanding. And he and Noreen O'Toole, who is his partner at Platinum Partners, who used to be your town planner here in Stoughton.
Correct.
They have collaborated, and they have a business called Platinum Partners. And usually at a networking group, for many of you who know, you go and you just chat, and there's really no program. So last night, Noreen said to me, I have a little program, and I said, hey, whatever works is fine with me. So everybody took a seat, and she talked about the book Charlotte's Web. Now, would you ever expect at a networking group that you'd hear about Charlotte's Web? But she talked about the three characters, Charlotte, who's the spider, Rick, who's the rat, I forget.
Yeah.
And she said that the rat, and Barry said, I'm the rat. And she said, yeah, the rat is the negotiator. If you really, go in deep a little bit on Charlotte's Web, imagine. And it was really interesting to hear her say that. So did that spark some interest in some people to say, this person I know I was going to hire in my business, and that's exactly what he is, a negotiator, and I think I need him. So, did it spark a thought? That's why I always think you have to have a thought partner. Do you have a thought partner?
I have to think about that.
Well, maybe your wife is your thought partner.
She sure is.
Yeah. So, all of those kinds of things. So, anyways.
On your list of things that you wanted to talk about, there's one interesting point here. Are there other towns that you support?
We support any town. We have a member from Easton. We have a member from Foxborough. You can belong to 5 chambers if you want.
Sure.
You can belong wherever you want. We take anybody that would like to join us. The first thing I say, and I said this last night, was, let's have a cup of coffee. Anybody want to have a cup of coffee? And they're like, uh-oh, be careful if you have a cup of coffee with Jeannette, because then she'll take you to lunch and you're hooked. Which is kind of funny. But yeah, we would love to have anybody that's interested in having a little bit of fun, doing a little bit of kindness, and growing their business. That's what we're about. It's not about me. It's about you and your business.
Okay. And there are programs that the Stoughton Chamber used to put on. Are you going to continue those?
Yes, we have a newsletter, and we would be glad to go on our website and sign up for our newsletter, because I put a little blurb in, talking again, here we go. And I always ask, please tell me what you want. Drop me a line, give me a call. Just say, Jeannette, I'm so-and-so from wherever I'm from, and I'd like you to come and listen to what I have to say, because this is what I sell. Okay, we can do that as well. Yes, everybody is welcome, and because Randolph is so diverse, I'm sure you know that, I struggle sometimes with trying to help people that are in business from other countries understand what we do. Mm-hmm. Because if you're from the Caribbean or if you're from Europe, they don't have chambers of commerce like we have here. So when I say this is the organization, this is the membership fee, they don't quite understand, and I say, well, don't you want to know what you get for your membership fee? Oh, you'll do that for me? Well, yes, we will do that for you. So we've got a lot of interest in a lot of different, I think that in Randolph, we represent every country in the world. We have such a diverse community, it's wonderful. Sometimes I have to listen really carefully because of their accents, because I want to make sure I understand.
Right.
That part of it is a little difficult, but they're just wonderful, and they just are like sponges. They want to know what you're going to give them and how we can help them. And sometimes they're surprised that we want to help them. That's too bad, isn't it? I think. But I do want to talk about one of the programs that is coming up.
Go.
It's called Leaders on the Rise. So I am a woman's advocate. I went to an all-girls parochial school growing up, and I went to an all-girls college. So, and I have 5 brothers. I don't have any sisters, but I am an advocate for women. So when I was doing work for the South Shore Chamber when I was in banking, we put a program together, and we've mirrored that program here at Connect 24 Business Alliance, and it's called Leaders on the Rise. And it's a program for high school students. So girls from Stoughton, Randolph, Holbrook, Avon, and Blue Hills have been invited to come to Massasoit Community College next Tuesday for our day program. And the program begins when they get off the bus. They get off the bus and they have a little continental breakfast, and we give them a little swag bag filled with some wonderful things. I'm going to share one thing that we have in the swag bag. This is called, I don't know if you can see it, the Self-Care book for girls. It's called The Just Girl Project. So how did I find out about this book? I have grandchildren, and a woman that works with my daughter, her daughter illustrated this book and gave it to the girls for Christmas, and I said, this book is not only good for girls in high school, it's good for girls in my circle of friends. It's a wonderful book. So I'm like, okay, now how can I afford to buy this book so that every girl has one? So I called the publisher and I told them what I was doing, and they said, I have a bookstore that will give you a discount, and that's how it happened. And then I happened to tell Noreen O'Toole about it, and looking for sponsorship. She said, we'll buy the book. Not a question, we'll buy the book for the girls. So they're sponsoring the book. This is going in the swag bag with all their other fun stuff, Color Street nails and bracelets and masks and all fun things that girls like. But the book is the most important thing. Unfortunately, the girl that illustrates the book, my daughter's friend's daughter, I didn't know she was home last week, otherwise I would have had her sign all the books. She works in Brooklyn. But it's a wonderful book. If there's grandparents out there that are looking for something to buy for their teenage granddaughter, this is it. You can get it on Amazon. But they were wonderful to me, so I already have them delivered. We're going to fill the bags on Friday. So this is happening next Tuesday.
What's the date?
It's May 24th, and it's not really open to the public because they have strict rules at Massasoit still, masking, and you have to show proof of vaccination to get it in there. And the girls that are coming all have. But Blue Hills is doing the lunch for us. We have a sponsor for that. Fresher's Deli is doing the breakfast for us. We have a sponsor for that. RAH Credit Union in Randolph has given us $2,000 to put wherever we want to put it.
Nice.
So we raised $5,100 through sponsorships just for the ask. Please would you? And you'd be surprised how many people are interested to know about this program and to know how good it's going to be for the girls. So I'll tell you who our guest speaker is going to be. If you're a fan of Fox 25 News and you watch it in the morning, investigative reporter Crystal Haynes is going to be our keynote speaker. She's a woman of color who grew up in Springfield, and she has quite a story to share with the girls. Because what we want the girls to know is you can do anything you want. We can say those words all we want to, but when they hear a story and they can almost relate to the story, it's just wonderful. We have a panel. We're actually having your chief on. Chief Donna McNamara is going to be on our panel. Do you know her?
Yes, I do.
She's wonderful.
She's great.
She went from 10 years ago being a patrolman to the chief of police. Now she's the chief of police.
In Stoughton.
In Stoughton.
Right.
So I called her up and I said, Chief Donna, it's Jeannette. And she said, we'll be glad to do it again. She's been on the panel every year when we used to do it for there. Now she'll be on our panel. And then 3 other women that are in business, and then they have the keynote speaker, then they have lunch, and then they have breakout sessions, and they talk about a healthy you, and mental health as well as physical health, a successful you, and a financial you. And remember about your credit. Remember how that. So we try to pack as much as we can in for the day, and it's just a wonderful program. And if those of you who are watching and have daughters in the high school, keep your ear out for Leaders on the Rise program, and hopefully next year or the year after, your child could attend it.
Is this information available on your website?
Absolutely.
You have a website.
We do have a website, yes.
And very slowly say what it is.
It's www.connect24, the numbers, BA. You don't have to write out the whole businessalliance.com. Just Google us and you'll find us. I know you will. So that's a program that's dear to my heart. Does that support business? Well, it kind of does in a way, because all those people that are going to speak are business people. So, the people that are there, the kids will hear, this woman came and she does yoga, and oh, Mom, it's really cool, and do you think we could look into it? You just never know if somebody will, step up and say, yeah, my daughter was really interested in that kind of thing. So it's all connection. It's all talking, word of mouth.
Where do you hold the meetings?
Our meetings?
Yes.
Our board meetings have been on Zoom.
How about regular meetings?
The networking is once a month.
Sure.
So that was last night. It's usually the third Wednesday evening. And okay, that's fine, but what if you play golf every third Wednesday evening? So we have to change it up. I have a friend who is in a networking group with me, and he said, Jeannette, I can't come. That's the night I bartend. And I want to come. So it has to be changed up. Things can't always be. It's good to remember it, especially at my age. Oh, yeah, the third Wednesday of the month, I know I have to be here. But we are going to change it up. And we don't have just business after hours. We've had business before hours. We've had breakfast. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's easier for people to go at 7:30 to something and then go to work instead of trying to get out of work to come for the 5 o'clock.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. But I did want to talk about that because I think that's really important.
Okay, and you have a phone number that we should also talk about to reach you, and you have your
So we do have an office.
chamber phone.
Mm-hmm. We have an office in Randolph at the Stetson Hall, which is an historic building in downtown. We had that before we merged, and the rent is pretty decent, so that's why we're still there. I haven't even searched to have a place in Stoughton that we could rent, but for now, that's where we are. And I carry the phone with me. We have a cell phone for the chamber. We don't have a landline because I don't want to miss any calls. So I only work part-time, although if you ask my mom, she'll say, you're always up there. 94 years old, you have to put up with that sometimes.
Sure.
So I get the calls. If I don't answer you right away, it's probably because I'm with my mother. No, I'm only kidding. But I call you back, because I don't want to miss anybody that's interested in asking a question or getting some information, or maybe they get the information that's not for them. That's okay too. At least I got a chance to talk to them and maybe give them a little hint or a little tip. So the phone number is, sorry, that's where we're getting to, right?
Yes.
781-963-6862. And like I said, it's in my pocketbook right now. If somebody calls me while I'm here, when I leave, I'll call them back.
We don't want you to talk to them while you're on the show.
No, I was told by him to turn off my phone.
Him,
that guy over there, Roy.
mean individual.
No.
Well, we'll see if we can put this information up so it'll show at the end of the show.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful man in that booth out there named Dave.
Yeah.
What a great guy. Maybe he heard me.
Maybe
not.
Yeah, he heard you.
Did he?
Yeah.
Hi, Dave. Oh, he's got my card there. He's going to do it. What a good guy.
Yeah, we'll put it up at the end.
And aren't you lucky here in Stoughton to have such a great community access? You should be watching this and getting all the information you can. Roy said he's been on it for how long?
About 30 years.
30 years. He's an icon in Stoughton.
Ever since they installed the cable in Stoughton, I've been involved.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Oh, yeah. So where do you see the Alliance in 5 years?
I know. I don't ever say what my birth date is. I always say my birth date is 12/21 OLD because I don't want them to know how old I am. So no spring chicken. So if my health is good, I would love to continue to grow it. I would love our membership to be at least 300 or 400, but that's really pushing it because I want to be able to hug everybody. And and also for those of you out there who might be interested, we are always looking for board members because we have a really good crew of board members. But like I said, they're really busy in their business, and sometimes they want to do something and to help, and they just can't. I know we have a gentleman who's the branch manager over in Stoughton for Rockland Trust, and he's so short-staffed that he's like, Jeannette, I said, I get it. I really get it, Jameson. Don't worry. I know you support us in other ways by talking about us and encouraging people to join. So yeah.
Well, I've only gotten to know you for the last hour.
Okay.
And I have to tell you that my gut feeling, my first impression is that whoever put you in the position of executive director, they knew what they were doing.
Well, thank you. And I have to tell you how I got that position, because I was tired of coming to a meeting and doing the same thing every week, every month. I'm like, this isn't working. So I went to the powers that be and said, hire me. And they said, you'd take the job? And I'm telling you, they're just paying me so much money.
Oh, sure.
At least I can put that money in the gas tank now.
Yeah, you have no choice in that area.
I know. Imagine $5 a gallon. It's awful.
It's ridiculous.
And how can we, as a community, stop that? A friend of mine told me when I was in my 20s, Jeannette, you just need a crusade. You'll be off and running doing that. I mean, how do you do that? And we're not going to get into the political realm, but jeekus creepus. That'll
be the next show.
Oh, really?
Sure. We'll talk politics.
Oh, not with me.
Why not?
Because I've discovered during the pandemic that people aren't nice. People that I thought were my friends for 30 years, if I didn't agree with what they agreed with, they didn't even want me to talk to them. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, we're friends. What does that got to do with it? Bad.
It's too bad.
It is too bad. It made me sad.
Sure, I can understand
really
that.
Really sad.
So what are we talking about to join? If I'm a small business, how much is it going to cost me to join?
So if you have less than 10 employees, it's $150 for the year. If you have 10 to 50 employees, it's $225. And if you have over 50 employees, it's $300. And if you're a nonprofit, it's $150. So we're not making a lot of money.
The organization, the Alliance, is a nonprofit organization?
Yes, it is. Yep.
So if somebody wanted to just write a check to help you out, it's deductible?
Yeah. It is deductible, and we are looking for a corporate sponsor, somebody that has a bigger business that could afford to give us $2,500 for the year. We would support them and talk about them all the time. If you look on the front of our website, you'll see the corporate sponsors that we have. And if it has to be a barter situation like it was with Suburban Chopper, so be it. They're putting that ad in every week for us. And we said, then you're a corporate sponsor. We don't want any money from you. Thank you. I mean, and it's worked. It can work. Anything can work.
I remember when the Suburban Shopper started.
Yeah?
The house, in the basement of the house.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lenny and Irene Franklin.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How nice is that? See, you have a treasure right here in Stoughton. Do you know? He's a wealth of information and a really good guy.
Who's
You're
that?
Lucky. You?
Oh.
Yep. I think so.
You're making me blush.
I can just hear your wife if she's watching.
Yeah.
She would agree with me.
She's a big supporter.
Awesome. What else did I want to tell you about the Alliance? That we have fun. We really have fun. We have to get down to brass tacks and talk about important things, but yeah.
We have to, whatever shows you're putting on in Randolph, you have to get a copy over here to Dave. And
I will.
He'll plug them in.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Oh, look at that thumbs up.
You got the thumbs up.
Did you ever see Dave? Dave's got a cool beard.
Yeah, they see him. He's
he's out and about. Oh, he's fluffing his beard. I love that.
He hasn't changed a bit.
No, it's all good. all good. Yep.
I haven't seen him since the beginning of the pandemic, and I see him today, and he's the same old Dave.
You said that old word, Dave. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't know how our timing is.
Oh, we
How's our
got
timing?
about 10 more minutes.
Well, I would invite anybody to please call me with any programming that they're looking for. And you know, I'll tell you, I did have a phone call recently from somebody that was interested in joining, and he couldn't afford the $150, which is understandable. You know, you got to put gas in your car these days. So he said, "Can I pay over the year?" And of course you can. You know, like I said in the beginning of the show, I personally want to support you however I can do that. I can give you a candy bar, but I can't give you a lot of money. Just to be helpful. And I'm just going to go back to that one thing about the girl that wants to start a nonprofit. I'm going to tell you her story. So I know her mom, and I know her, and she's worked for AAA for 20 years. Very successful businesswoman, and then she got cancer. And then she decided that she did not want to work in corporate anymore, and she was going to quit her job. And so her mom told me that, and I said, "Oh my gosh." And she said, "Yep, she wants to start a nonprofit." And I said, "Good." And she said, "But she's going to have to go to work in a couple of years, because how can she afford it?" And I'm like, see, now that's where you need to educate somebody, because if you're going to start a nonprofit, you're going to be the CEO of the nonprofit, and you're going to get a salary. You might not be making what you were making before, but you can certainly make enough money to sustain yourself. So what I did for her was had coffee, then we had lunch, and I put together a packet. And in the packet was the most recent grant. And Margaret LaForest works for Mike Keneally's office, Secretary Keneally, and she's got the ear of the governor, and she's a friend of mine. So anything that new comes out, she always, lets me know. So that went in there for her packet. This grant this happened a couple months ago, so this grant isn't in existence anymore. I gave her the name of an attorney that helps people start their businesses. I gave her the number of the SBA connection that I have, and I gave her Margaret LaForest. So she was like, "I can't believe you just gave me all this information." I said, "I can't tell you the information because I'm not an expert in anything, like I said, except talking." So she was able to talk to the attorney and the attorney is on our board. And that's why I chose him, because I know him and I trust him. So that's another reason why you should be networking, to get to know people so that they know you and they trust you, and then they do business with you. That's kind of how it goes. So her mom didn't even think that she could, if she ran a business, that she would be paid for a nonprofit. Well, of course, somebody has to get paid for, even me, I'm the executive director. I get paid to put enough gas in my car to drive around. So those are the kinds of things that you almost sometimes need a thought partner for, to say, "Well, did you ever think of this?" kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm encouraging all my girlfriends to get a thought partner, because I think it's important. And I've met so many wonderful people just in the few short years that we've been Connect 24. Just so many diamonds in the rough that you don't even know about in your own town that are willing to help you and do what they can for you. And then I'll tell you a personal story that I probably shouldn't say, but last year my son had a stroke, and I ran a fundraiser for him. And the result of this fundraiser is my mantra now. If you live your life and you give, you get back. I can't tell you how much I got back for this fundraiser. I raised a ton of money for my son, and I didn't have one in the expense column. I only had in the income column. So if you give, not money, just kindness, just smiling, just any of that in your lifetime, and don't forget I'm OLD, it comes back to you in a way that you never expected would ever come back to you. Seriously. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Yep. So I know everybody thinks I'm a Pollyanna, and I am. That's how I grew up, just doing good things. And they're like, I'm sure there's people out there saying, "Oh gosh, here she goes again." But it works in life. If you want to do good for people, it comes back a millionfold to you.
Remember to say thank you.
Exactly. You want to tell that story we just talked about? I'm going to tell the story about my son. he said to me, Mom, I'm tired of holding the door for people because they never say thank you. And I almost could kill him when he said that. And I said, what? And he said, well, they don't always say thank you. And I said, if you're holding the door because you want them to say thank you, do not hold the door again. Do not. Just do it because you're kind and it's from the kindness of your heart. Don't expect a thank you. When you get a thank you, it's pretty cool though, isn't it? Especially when you're driving and you let somebody go and they wave you thank you and then some of them don't and you get sad. Or you get mad.
You say you're welcome.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully they'll hear it.
Yeah.
I found that if those out there who know me, they see me with a walker or a cane. When I approach a door, I notice that a lot of people go out of their way to hold the door open.
Yeah. Their mother
Which
raised them right.
blows me away. I just don't ever remember seeing people that generous.
Yeah.
And they are, and I thank them.
And it makes me sad when you turn on the news now, because they always tell about the bad things. Although I do watch Channel 5 because of Doug Meehan and Fox 25 because of Crystal Haynes. They have 5 for Good, so they do have a little segment that talks about good things that happen.
There are good things out there?
Yeah, 5 for Good it's called.
Great idea.
It is. So, yeah, so there should be a little corner of something to say, okay, this is what good has happened. Maybe we need to do that at Connect 24 in our newsletter. Just put a little thing, this is what happened that was good.
Say thank you.
Yes, say thank you. Exactly.
Amazing.
Right, right. And if you go into any high school, I don't care what high school you go in, you're going to find some fabulous kids. Fabulous kids. And then there are the poor souls that just didn't get any direction to be as fabulous, but they want to be as fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my soapbox now about talking about the kids.
I think I would like to put you on the soapbox because you've got a lot to talk about. You're a very interesting person, Jeannette.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be on, but I don't know how you're doing on the time thing.
Well, we got about 4 minutes.
Okay.
And
Well,
again, we'll put all your information on the end of the tape, and people will get to see. We will get to connect with you.
I appreciate that.
The phone, 781-963-6862. 963-6862, area code 781. Or if you want to directly connect to Jeannette, it's edirector at connect24ba.com. And hopefully, if you have things to suggest or you want to join or just ask questions, Jeannette, I found out in the last couple of weeks, she's very quick on the response, very pleasant to talk to. I'm sure you can sense that having watched this community forum show for the past hour. And Jeannette, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show with us, and for that we have this community forum mug for you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's not one like you see on the Today Show Sundays, where they have the yellow mugs that they sell for $20 or whatever it is. These are mugs that we've had for giving out to the people who are connected with the show, or our guests, or whatever. And it's a pleasure to have you on, and I thank you very much for coming in.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
And we'll look forward to more information from you of the positive nature in the future.
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, and hopefully you had a chance to watch my rusty attitude. Having only done this via Zoom for the last couple of years, I hope you enjoyed the show, and please be part of it. If you have any ideas, any suggestions that you'd like to see us input into the show, please let me know. You can call me, or the number is on the website, 781-760-6991. That'll bring you right into my cell phone, and we'll be happy to listen to your suggestions. So again, thank you very much for watching. It's Roy Cohen saying we will again see you in the very near future. Bye-bye now.